Welcome to Spaghetti Horror. I'm Keith Gotti.
And I'm Erica Parlavecchio.
And this episode is...
The
Strangers. Go ahead. Start with this.
All right, so we watched The Strangers together again, actually. For those who have not seen it, there is a sequel that is not obviously the same characters, spoiler alert, but this one came out in 2008. Some familiar faces you might recognize, Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman.
I forget, what's Scott Speedman in? I don't remember.
He was.
I think he said something.
People may know him now from he's the father in You, right, Ash?
Yes, the newest season of You on Netflix. He's the next.
What say you?
What?
I guess whatever.
But this movie is about they're a couple. I guess he wanted to get engaged, but she wasn't ready yet.
Oh, let's start first of all with its lying ass based on a true story.
Yeah.
Why even put that in? Anything's based on a true story. If someone drink water, it's based on a true story now. Go ahead.
Yeah, so apparently it's based on a true story. They leave a wedding and they go back to James's family's summer home, as they title it. It's February 11th. They felt like that was
the day before my birthday, just so you know.
Oh, well, almost happy birthday. It's
Thank
4
you.
more months. But they felt the need to tell us that it took place on February 11th, though I don't know no significance at all.
Warmest day I've ever seen for February 11th.
No snow on it.
I don't know where it takes
Maybe
place.
they're like
Sunny California?
Yeah, maybe. Or like
pretty...
out west. Like
something.
Yeah. But so they get back to their house and they're dejected a little bit and we're like, what's going on here? And then we find out that she, at the wedding, decided she didn't want to marry him, and then they're kind of just in the home by themselves. I
would have left her at the wedding. Be like, you don't want to marry me?
I would have left
you
her.
You can stay.
Yeah. I would have left her at the house by herself.
Come back to the summer home. Yeah, I would have dropped her off and left.
But
it's like 4 a.m.
But he doesn't do that.
No,
so
he's actually a decent guy.
Yeah, so they're in the home by themselves, 4 a.m., and they get this loud knock on the door.
Oh, yeah.
And...
what were they doing? They were about to have weird
sex.
breakup sex. Weird breakup sex. Like, it was really brief.
Yeah, it wasn't. They didn't do anything. It was like
it got to the cusp of it. I shouldn't say cusp. It got to the point where it was about to happen.
But so then they get this loud knock at the door, and it's some woman that we've never seen before. They have no idea who she is, and she's asking if Tamra is home.
Yeah.
And they're like, nope, Tamara doesn't live here. And so she leaves, and then the movie kind of just devolves from there. We end up learning that there's these 3 strangers, that's where the title comes from, in masks that are terrorizing them.
The movie was going to be called The Faces. I'm glad they changed it to The Strangers.
Yeah, The Faces would have been
The Strangers sound... I mean, I get The Faces because of the masks, but...
I don't think I would have gone to see a movie called The Faces.
Well, it depends. I mean, because I got to say, because I remember when this movie was coming out and stuff, the trailers, they hyped this up. And I remember even my sister-in-law... her finding like that whole line where they said, because you were home, being so creepy. And the movie actually looked like it was going to be pretty good. I am going to say, it's not. Keep going.
This is a turn for us, because this is one time... I don't love this movie, but I don't hate it. And that's new for us.
I will say
Spaghetti Horror.
Yeah, when I first saw this movie, I remember I watched it with my brother in his room. I thought the movie was really good. Again, I was like 17, 18 years old when I watched it. I thought it was really good. I watched it a couple other times after that, again thinking it was really good. I don't know, 13 years later, whatever, what year is it? 13 years later.
It came out.
Oh my god. I hate this movie.
I don't hate it. I remember seeing it in the theater. I do vividly remember that. I saw it with my mother, because I don't even, how old was I in 2008?
What year were you born?
1993. So I was 15.
Yeah, 15.
So not old enough to see it by myself yet, so my mother took me. I remember liking it when I saw it, and then... over the years, I've watched it sporadically.
Yeah.
I think it was more effective in the theater when it first came out. But watching it from home, I can see what you're saying. But I do like it. I like it.
This movie, to me, I mean, like, what a snooze fest. I mean, like, you got people creeping on you, and it's... I don't know. They could have done better. I mean, I actually thought, like, sometimes movies that don't have a high kill count, you know, I can actually appreciate that and like that. This one... kill everybody or something. Just have a slaughterhouse here, please. Just start killing people.
I liked it. I liked the masks. I thought
the masks
were really cool. And you haven't seen the second one, right?
Not yet, no.
So
I don't even know if I will, but I'll watch it.
They're really different, and I think they're comparable in that, like, it's still the same masks. They're different actors, obviously, in the second one, but this one was more, they're just going to toy with them the entire movie.
Which is a cool concept.
Which I thought was cool, and I think watching it and taking notes on it is different than just sitting there and watching it, but
True.
I liked that they kind of played with them. The second movie, is if they can get their hands on them, they're gonna kill them. Whereas this one was like they had many opportunities. They could have killed them at any moment. Is what I'm trying to say.
The first time you see someone in the house is when I think she's like going to get a drink or whatever it was. She's going to like the sink or something like that. I don't know what she's doing. Liv Tyler, the main character, and in the background you see the guy with like the sack on his face, and he's just standing there, kind of creeping. And you pointed it out, and I thought it was actually really cool that there's like no music or no like screeching thing because somebody stepped into frame. You kind of have to notice it.
Yeah.
And that's actually cool. That's a cool concept. There really wasn't like a score or soundtrack. There's some like noises and little things they add, but there's not really a soundtrack to it. But
yeah, I think because obviously when you see it in the theater, it's a much bigger screen, so you see it immediately. But I think from home it was cool. I mean, I knew he was there, but I think if you'd never seen it, in some ways, because you're focusing on her, you're not looking in the background necessarily. I mean, if you watch enough horror movies, you're always looking in the background.
Exactly.
But you might not notice him right away, which I thought was really cool because he kind of lingers for a period of time, and then he just like disappears.
Yeah.
But are you saying something?
Oh yeah, I was going to. I didn't want to interrupt you guys.
No,
I was gonna say that like because this is the first time I've seen this movie since like probably when it came out, and even watching it last night when I first noticed him, like it freaked me out. Like my heart started racing.
Yeah, and he lingers and never gets close to her, which I thought was effective too. He is, I don't know how far away, but at least 20 feet where she wouldn't even feel that he's behind her.
Yeah.
And then he's there, and then the camera kind of pans away from where he's standing, and then he just disappears into the darkness. So you're like, is he still in the house? Is he outside of the house?
Yeah.
Where did he go?
And actually, and was it it was before that, the one thing you actually noticed, which I thought was kind of cool, was the song that was playing and what it says. Yeah, elaborate on that. I thought that one was actually cool. I didn't notice that.
I noticed it because I thought the skipping record player was pretty cool. I doubt that a record player would perfectly skip like that, but it's used throughout the movie, and you're right, there's not a consistent score that's like anything that you could necessarily point to.
It's things like this.
But the record player is, I think, really effective throughout the movie, but the moment that we're talking about, so she's kind of wandering around, and there's a song that's playing, and I remembered it, so I didn't want to ruin it, but there's a song that's playing, and you're hearing her walk around. You have a feeling they're going to knock on the door again, because nothing kind of had happened, and then somebody knocks on the door, and like in that moment, the song starts to say, like, should we go outside? Which was really cool.
Yeah, now, I don't know how I never noticed that. Like, again, these are things I usually pick up on. I'm slacking. You know what it is? This movie is such a snooze fest.
Well, I feel like if you're not looking for something like that, you're not going to notice it, though.
I'll tell you, I start, like, I don't know. I think I was so fixated on the fact that, like, she's supposed to get proposed, or she got proposed to and she rejected it. And then she, like, starts trying on the ring.
And then she wears it for the remainder of the movie.
Yeah, like, I'm, like, noticing, like, I guess, we're supposed to notice that because it's in the movie, but, like, I'm dwelling on weird stuff in this movie. I'm like, there's strangers going to this house, and I'm sitting here like, what's going on with the relationship?
See, I thought she was wearing the ring because she couldn't get it off.
Oh, I don't know. I thought
it looked like when she put it on, she like went to take it off, but it wouldn't come off.
It was odd to me that she'd even put it on at all because
she's totally right
she's like, I'm not ready to marry you, like a 15-year-old. When they're obviously like late 30s, it's like, what are you still doing with him?
Yeah, why would you not break up with this guy or vice versa? I mean, like, how do you not know? And like, and then. Oh, they were so weird too. Like after that, like she takes a bath and eats a tub of ice cream like a 15-year-old girl in a breakup. Like, like it was so pathetic. The dress
she wore to the wedding back on after her bath.
And in her defense, I mean, I guess there should have been clothes there because they were going to stay over the night.
She went to her bag at one point to get the cell phone charger.
She tells him, I put the dress back on because it makes me feel pretty. And I'm like, it's 4:30 in the morning. What the hell are you doing?
Why are these guys... I mean, they've been at a wedding, they've been drinking, and I'll tell you, like, after that, I'd be tired. And, like, she's been smoking cigarettes, and like, these people look exhausted.
Well, he leaves to go get cigarettes.
To get more cigarettes,
at that time. It's like, you can go to bed and do that tomorrow. Like... in a couple hours. You don't have to do that right now.
Yeah, she couldn't just smoke one more cigarette and go to bed, or just smoke her last. I mean, like it's 4:30 in the morning. People.
Now that we're on it, I mean, who cares about them anyway? Because you know that the movie's not about them. Like it's about these people after them. But this was some of the worst character development I've seen ever.
There basically was none.
Well,
right?
there was none, but I think that there needed to be almost because
I wanted to like these characters, but I didn't care.
I don't think you have to like them, but I think you have to like. You have to have some connection to them.
Yeah, like if they got killed, who cares?
Yeah, because if it's just a slasher movie, you're like, oh, it's some teenager, who cares? But it wasn't that. It was they were following them and they were playing with them, and like I feel like you almost had to kind of care about them a small bit. And They did a lot of this, like, flashbacking to the wedding that no one cares about.
Who cares? Yeah,
nobody cares.
Yeah, and at this point, if it's about strangers in the house, why are you trying to tease that you might develop these characters and then just abandon that? I mean, that was just...
Well, something I mentioned when we were watching it, and I stand by. The Mike character is so pointless. Mike, the character, became a way for the plot to move forward.
Yeah,
but he
just so you know, Mike was what's the boy husband?
James.
James called his friend Mike to come pick him up. I guess because he was just going to leave her.
But he just left him a voicemail, so it was unclear if Mike was ever actually going to come.
Yeah, because they kind of just figured that Mike might have been drunk or whatever.
Yeah.
And Mike is played by Glenn Howard, and by the way, Dennis from Always Sunny. Just to throw that in there.
I don't like that show, but
love that show.
I'm happy that you recognized him.
I think most people would, because I don't think he's in anything else.
I think one of the first things I said to you was,
Ashley
isn't
said it.
Dennis in this movie?
Yeah, like I don't think, really, that guy I don't think is anything. I think he's been in this, he's in AP Bio, he's Always Sunny, but he's Dennis in Always Sunny, he's no other character.
But he was so beyond pointless, and I hate when a movie just, like, throws in a character when it's so unnecessary. I mean, this is just nitpicking the way it was written, but they don't need him to show up to the house, right? Like, they needed him because they do the smart thing. They have a weapon, and they decide at some point, we're just going to sit in the corner of a room, and it's off. There's no really windows, it didn't look like in this room. There was only one door. They're like, we're just going to sit here, and if anybody comes, we're going to shoot them.
That's what I do, like a shelter in place. Like,
Which is the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
But
if there's only some people with, God, if they even have weapons. Yeah, I just stand there with a shotgun and be like, I'm going to wait and blow one of these guys' faces off.
But it became stupid for the movie, because if they just do that, the movie ends, right? So they needed some character to show up and get them out of this room, which didn't need to happen at all. Just don't let them have a gun. And then they don't have that option.
I know.
Like, he just shows up.
I kind of wish there was, like, Mike kind of hanging out with him a little bit, maybe a little more diversion, some cool kills.
I don't need him at all. It's just don't give them a gun so that they don't have the choice to sit in the room. And then he shows up, and something gets thrown through his window. He has a cell phone in his hand because he just finished calling James, being like, hey, I'm outside.
Yeah.
A rocket's thrown through his window. He's like, oh, God. And he starts walking into the house.
Well,
why aren't you calling the police immediately?
See, here's the problem with people in this movie, because prior to that, James comes home and sees Liv Tyler. What's her character's name?
Kristen.
Sees Kristen, and Kristen's saying there's someone in the house, this and that, and he's just kind of like, eh.
He's like, no, there's not.
Yeah, you sure? Like, I even says, like, with a big asterisk, he dismisses her. And then, like, he finally sees the person outside, but he totally just dismisses this idea, and it's not even like, hey, let's try to give 911 a shot. It's like, let's investigate. I don't know, I'm not investigating.
And of course he leaves his phone in the car.
Yeah, why would you leave your phone in the car,
So Mike shows up, has a cell phone in his hands, something gets launched through his window that just demolishes his front windshield. Yeah. And he's like, I guess I'll go in this house that I can clearly see is damaged, their car is destroyed. Yep. I'm just going to walk in and see what's going on.
Yep.
And he walks in, and James, with not even a moments of breath, just like a sharpshooter, shoots him right in the eye.
Blasts him
right through the head.
Absolutely blasts him. Which, by the way, I feel like the wound should have been a little bit bigger than that.
I mean, I don't care. It was just so pointless.
No, you who's a nitpick person about blood on a meat hook in Texas Chainsaw, not worried about a shotgun blast in the face.
was so irritated that his character even existed that I was just like, I don't even care.
You know what else is irritating? Little tidbit, they spent 3 hours doing Glenn Howard's makeup for that death scene for you to see half a snippet of it, barely a sequence of it, barely anything. I mean, it was quite silly. They honestly, like you said, turn his head to the other side, don't even show it.
Just don't even show it. But, so they kill him, and then the first thing that James is like, oh my God, I killed my friend. And he just tackles Kristen to the ground. Like, distraught he tackles her. Yeah. And then he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to leave you here. What?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, leaves instead. Yeah. And, man, I cannot read my notes. Go ahead, continue.
So he just leaves her in the house alone.
He leaves and she stays. That's what I wrote.
And she just chills there, and he's like, hopefully nobody comes to kill you. I'm going to go find him. And at this point, we are well aware that there's 3 strangers.
Yeah.
So he thinks he's going to kill 3 of them with a single shot, apparently. Single shot.
Going to line them up.
Yeah.
This is about when she snaps her foot in that hole.
The hole that was so gaping wide, you could see it from a mile away. She just face plants straight into a hole. Yeah,
her foot is the most broken thing until it decides not to be sometimes, and it's just... And so I'm going to tell you right now, this is where the movie sucks. Excuse me for banging the table. This movie just turns into a stupid cat and mouse for the rest of the freaking movie.
When they killed Mike, it really, like, the pace and the way it was moving really, like, changed, because before that point... they were in and out of the house. There's a time where James is in his car and he gets like a little tickle on his neck, which was cool.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see where they're coming from. They write killer on the window, which was cool. But the moment that they kill Mike and they decide James is just going to go be a vigilante outside, the movie changes. And
they abandon what's the cool parts of this movie. Like, the beginning is cool.
They're no longer playing with them. They're no longer, like... You know that the movie's just, like, waiting to get to the end.
Yeah.
Like, trying to figure out, like, okay, what's the next move here? Because now he's outside. She's inside. The front door is smashed open.
Yeah. And then she runs into the barn, and there's a CB radio. Beautiful. Perfect. You can call cops, everything on that. She's the most useless person when it comes to CB radio.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the whole scene, like, why even put that in there?
But that scene was cool when the
she
doll
whispers
face,
hello?
Yeah, the doll face.
Yeah.
So there's 3 masks. We'll talk about our favorite masks next, but
yeah.
there are 2 females, 1 male. I don't know what we would call the male, just like a sack. He has a sack on his head. Yeah.
I think on the IMDb it's like the face or something.
The face, yeah. But he has a sack on his head. It's like a weird, like...
I'm going to call him Sackhead.
Yeah. And then there's Dollface and then Babyface. And the Dollface character, as she's like on the CB radio, whispers, but it's like, it has to be loud enough for us to hear it, right? But she whispers like, hello.
It's creepy. It's cool.
And I thought it was effective.
Yeah. But I was kind of hoping like more cool stuff like that.
How did I not catch that?
I don't know.
Well, you fell asleep halfway through the movie.
No, I was awake for that part.
I literally wrote in my notes, chase movie, ? Kill me now, boring. And I said, she's in-house being stalked. I hated this movie, clearly. Like, I'm just writing notes. I'm actually just writing down, like, just my inner monologue, like, F this, I hate this, can this be over soon, kind of, like, notes. I really thought, like, this whole last... I'll call it the last act. I make my own acts for these movies. I'm going to call this the final act. The final act is horrible. Again, it's cat and mouse. There's nothing interesting. I'm just waiting for someone to die, to kill these strangers, or for all these people to be killed. I'm just waiting for the movie to end. I found myself, upon rewatching, and I remember, again, liking this the first few times I watched it. I'm zoning out. I'm barely paying attention. I just don't really care. Like, I always can judge a movie about how many times I pick up my phone. I picked up my phone to check texts and things like that several times, and I kind of just stopped caring.
Yeah, I really did. I mean, I think for when it came out, I think it was unlike something that had come out at that time. Like, there was nothing really like this at that point, and I still don't think there is necessarily, because a lot of, I mean, it's not a slasher, but a lot of movies
I wish it was, though.
Yeah, but I don't think it needed to be. I thought the idea of just this...
something.
Yeah. I thought the idea of these 3 killers kind of just, like, milling around and, playing games with this couple, I thought it was cool, and I still think it is. But I think you're right. I think the movie up until, as we've said, up until Mike is killed, was very good, I thought. Yeah. And then Mike gets killed, and it kind of shifts into what you're right is... I wouldn't even say it's cat and mouse because she barely moves.
I know, but,
yeah. It just becomes like, how are we? And I think we can move to this because we talked about this when we finished it. I think that what made the movie become boring was that they got into the house and closed them too quickly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I absolutely totally agree with that. And then, like, at that point, it's like, where can you go from there?
Yeah.
There's not really much options.
No, and
like, give me a chase through the woods sequence or something.
Right, but she has to break her foot, so they
could have just not broken her foot and could have done... I want, like, let's knock on neighbors' doors and let's start killing neighbors. Like, get a neighbor, like, gutted or stabbed, something.
I think that the movie progressed too fast. So, they're
going for, like, that hour and a half mark, which is fine. I actually like that for her.
Yeah, but I think I think the length is fine. I don't have a problem with the length. But I think that they escalated them getting into the house too quickly. Mm-hmm. And so they had to find a way to make it interesting, and I guess it was Mike or him, like her ending up outside and then back in the house. But once she ends up outside and once the front door is smashed, there's nowhere to go, because like it felt like the whole movie that maybe they could get in and out as they chose.
Right.
But once the front door is open and just demolished, like there's no safety net anymore of the door.
There was... I can't name a whole lot off the top of my head, but I remember, like this is kind of the era, and I call this is, like, between, like your Blair Witch movies and between, like, your Insidious Conjuring movies. Like, this was, like, a weird time for some of these horror movies. Like what was that Luke Wilson movie? Vacancy, right. Like, all these types of movies like this.
I loved Vacancy, though.
Oh, I did, too. I actually thought that one was better, but, like, and then you get movies like like Joyride, which I also thought was good too. But a lot of these movies just became kind of like stalker chase, and like they seem to kind of fall into this genre of like the stalker chase, like almost like things that would be kind of realistic, right? You know, it's not supernatural, it's not this, and it's not like found footage, it's not that, but. I think this one kind of missed the mark on it. I think this was trying to become not recreate the genre, but add another step to it and make it cool again. But I don't know. I didn't really.
I liked it. I think there were things that like were creepy, and I think if you're someone that is afraid of horror movies, I think there is something like very realistic about it. Being in a home and a couple late at night, like we've all been in that situation. I think.
Yeah.
But the ending I don't hate, but I mentioned it when it happened because we'd seen it before. I generally don't like when a movie opens with the end, which is what this one does. So the movie ends with them getting kind of stabbed, which we'll talk about because I thought it was pretty effective, that scene. But they end up getting stabbed, and when the movie opens, you don't know that, but there's these two kids, and you hear a 911 call, and they're like, "Oh, there's blood everywhere. There's blood on the walls," and then you kind of see them walk into the house, and then
that was like another trope of that time. They did that in a lot in movies for whatever reason.
I didn't find it. I think it can be effective, but I didn't find this particularly effective because you don't see anything.
Right.
You just see these two kids, and from watching the trailer, you can kind of guess that someone's gonna get hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's not like, oh, I wonder what this movie's gonna be about. Like you know that someone's gonna get hurt. Mm-hmm. There's these three people in masks stalking them.
It's kind of like, and I kind of felt, and I feel like I put it in my notes. Yeah. So it almost kind of reminds me like it's trying to be a little Texas Chainsaw. Yeah. We have like a little narration in the beginning, trying to say it's based on a true story, kind of showing like here's an aftermath scene, like it was a crime scene kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think that fell flat. I think it could have been effective. It could have been cool if the rest of the stuff in between kind of made it work, but it didn't.
I'm not a big fan of it, especially in a movie like this. I mean, there are movies that it can work, and I think if it doesn't ruin the rest of the movie, I think there are times it could work. But here, it just felt meaningless because it's like, yeah, I'm assuming that one of them is gonna get hurt. Yeah. Like I'm watching a horror movie. I kind of assume
they're all gonna die based on the trailer.
I assume someone's gonna die, whether it's the killer or there's a final girl scenario. Like I'm assuming someone's gonna die.
Yeah, someone's gotta die.
And I don't care about these two kids.
I didn't expect the first death to be what's his name, Mike. Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect that to be the first death. I mean, I don't know. I was kind of hoping for more characters to be there to be killed.
I like that I like that it was like small scale, because if you have more people, then there's only 3 of them, and if you have too many people in the house at once, it just becomes like the movie. Did you see the Rental?
No, I don't think so.
It was it came out I think last year, and it's for those who haven't seen it. I'm only mentioning it because it's similar. These people get an Airbnb, and the person who owns the Airbnb, it could have been cool, but it wasn't. But the person that owns this Airbnb like starts terrorizing them, and there were like 7 of them, and there's just this one guy trying to kill them, and it's like, come on, there's 7 of you, figure it out.
I know. Like that's those types of movies are silly like that. Like at least this is a 3-on-3, and then became a 3-on-2.
Yeah,
so, like, at least that makes sense.
I think too, if you have too many people in such a small space, it's like, well, where do we put them all? Yeah. Like, how do we... I liked that it was just a couple. I didn't mind that I didn't need more people to be killed or more people to be involved, but...
Maybe just a little more action, something. I don't know. And I'll say this too. Again, like last night when I watched the movie, I won't say what my score is yet, but I scored it. And I'm going to change that score because the more I dwelled on this, like I went to bed last night, I thought about this movie. I woke up this morning, I thought about this. I actually sat down at the table drinking a tea with my wife, and I said, you know what? F that movie. I said, that movie sucked. I wasted an hour and a half. Like, I was actually pissed. Like, I was thinking about it all day. Like, I can't wait to bash this movie.
It's true. He brought it up like 3 times.
I was so, like... I was so mad at myself for actually watching it again. Like, I felt like disappointed in myself. Like I dishonored myself for this.
Well, we could talk about how they get dispatched of, I guess. Well, it's unclear if she's dead. It doesn't matter. But
yeah,
I thought, and I said this when we watched it, so the whole idea of this movie is that it's supposed to be scary because they just picked them because they were home. And they say that, and she keeps asking them, what do you, like, why are you doing this? It's like, well, who cares? It's just random people. Like,
well, I mean, as a victim, I'd want to know why they were doing it to me.
I guess, but, like, when they saw they saw the baby face character when she knocked on the door. Mm-hmm. They clearly had no clue who she was. So obviously it's just random. Well, like, why are you asking that? If they recognize her,
we can't say obvious because I don't know. I mean, people got stalkers. You never know what you did to somebody whose face you forgot.
No, I think it was pretty clear they had no clue who she was, and then for them to be like, well, why are you doing that? Well, who cares? Like, obviously, I actually
thought that line was actually pretty good. When she says because you're.
I don't hate it, but
that's like the one part I think I liked.
I like it. I think it, but it's not wildly shocking to me that there's just these three random people killing these two random other people.
And for the record, the one thing that kind of spoils that is they put that in the trailer, that part. Yeah. Because you were home. It's like, oh, so you just basically told me that this is, like you said, I mean, it's called A Stranger, so sure, you kind of get it from that. And they say because you're home, so you're basically going to the movie saying, well, we're just going to watch these people try to kill these people, and we know there's no connection between them.
Wasn't that the tagline for the movie?
Like they don't even make it like where it could tease it a little bit, like, hey, maybe something happened at the wedding and these people were there. Yeah. Like, none of that. It was just like because you're home, and that's fine. That's a cool concept, but I think it was very
cool.
spoiled.
I think it's cool, but I think what makes the movie scarier is not like, oh, we just killed you because you were here. I think it's scarier because it takes place in a home. It's not like, you see these slasher movies and people are out and about, or like Friday the 13th is at a day camp, like, or, even, I mean, Psycho made people scared of a shower. Like, I think common areas that you're supposed to be comfortable in your house. You're supposed to be safe in your house. Yep. And I think that makes it scarier as opposed to them just saying like, well, we just picked you because you were here. We could have picked those people, but we were just too lazy to walk down the street. Yeah. Like, I think in a sense it is cool.
That's cool. I totally agree with that.
It's scary, but I think what makes this movie, regardless, I think there's flaws to it. But I think at the time, it was scary because I don't remember many movies that had this kind of, like, they can kind of get in and out as they pleased. Mm-hmm. They're home by themselves. You can see that there's no neighbors anywhere close to them. It's 2008, so they have these flip phones. And I mentioned this last night. It's funny how, like, when I first saw this movie, because my parents still had a landline, I was like, oh, just use the landline. Like,
we
what do you mean?
still have the landline then, too.
Your cell phone's gone, just use the landline. And now the tables have turned again, where we were like, if this was today and they took my phone, I'm screwed. That's it. We're done. I have no way of contacting you.
Maybe you can go on, like, your laptop and stuff like that, but, like, no, like, if they cut your Wi-Fi and break your phone, you're done.
That's it. You're done. Whereas when I remember seeing it and being like, well, why don't they just use the landline?
Yeah,
like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And then now today, it's like, I don't have a home phone.
I mean, this movie still, though, could take place, because we were also talking, like, we actually mentioned, I was like, with Ring doorbells, this wouldn't work anymore, but you're like, it still could. I'm like, it actually still could work with Ring doorbells.
Because all you have to do is destroy the Ring doorbell.
You break the Ring doorbell, and that's it. You break the phone. As a matter of fact, I feel like this movie could be more effective. Once you cut off Wi-Fi, all this stuff shuts down.
Yeah,
all you have to do is you can snip one wire outside the house, and everyone's screwed.
Well, I'll talk about this a little bit, but they did that in Hush. They cut
That's right. Yeah, they did that. Yeah, they did that in Hush.
And then, so she has no means of communication. But and I'll mention Hush again.
Hush was perfectly done, by the way.
We can review Hush if you guys would like us to, but I'm bringing it up now because that similar, not the masks, but similar enough. A person at home with somebody outside of it. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing an interview with Mike Flanagan and Kate Siegel, who stars in it. Those people at home will know Mike Flanagan from, I'm sure, The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. He did Bly Manor. He has done Oculus. I like him a lot. I saw an interview with them, and I thought it reminded me of this movie. They talked specifically about how conscious they were of how the killer was in the home, and that they didn't want him to get in there too quickly because they said, as we've talked about, once they're in the home, there's not much you can do after that.
No
so they were very conscious of, like, telling the story in a way that he kind of sometimes got in but left. Sometimes it was like things were happening with her in the house, and I thought that movie was so much more effective at this, like, cat and mouse random killer outside with somebody in a home, because they were so conscious of how the movie progressed, so you didn't feel like, well, they're in the house now, what do we do now?
This movie blew its wad too quickly.
Yes.
That's the worst way to phrase that. Yeah. But it totally blew its wad too quickly. Like you said, once they got into the home, there you go, the movie's over. That's it.
But I think the next thing we could do, because there are 3 masks, and I think we can rank the masks. I think we're on the same page. So.
I think we're exactly on the same page.
So our least favorite mask would be the guy with the sack on his head. I don't think there's anything scary about it.
He was very beautifully dressed.
Immaculately
dressed. Dapper AF, this guy. Yeah. I mean, he's wearing a suit.
Brown. I don't love Brown, but he...
Yeah, it was an older suit. Yeah. I feel like he definitely went to like a thrift shop or wore his father's
But he's
suit.
like, if I'm going to kill people, I'm going to look good.
He's going to look good, and you want to know what?
For the occasion.
It's like the hitman thing. You wear the tuxedo, you wear the black suit. He decided, I'm going to wear a suit, put a sack on my head. So that was definitely my least favorite mask, but I actually liked the mask, but it was my least favorite mask. It was plain.
I didn't find anything to be particularly creepy about it.
It was like, it's kind of like the sack head thing is like Town That Dreaded Sundown and Friday the 13th, but they wore it better.
Yeah, I just didn't think this one... Like, I think
this had like those weird seams on it too.
Yeah, it did. It had like a seam across the top and like I don't know.
Like he turned a shirt inside out and made a mask.
Yeah, I didn't find anything particularly creepy about it.
Yeah,
it was freaky when he first showed up and was like in the background at it when she didn't notice.
Yeah,
him, but I don't think he was creepy because of the mask. I think it was like he could have been wearing.
He could have been maskless and that would have been scary.
Yeah, he could have been wearing like a pink hat and he would be scary.
Yeah, I'd be like, what the hell is that? Yeah, it's just fair. I think it was just scary that there was somebody behind her.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think. Again, and I think this is another like flaw of the movie. You didn't see them enough.
Yeah, right. I totally agree with that.
And I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily because they were kind of like in and out of frame. Like you didn't want to see them too much, but
they could have played more tricks. Yeah, if they weren't being seen that much. They didn't play. They just wrote stuff on windows and mirrors, and that's fine. But they could have played more tricks if they weren't going to be seen.
And I don't know if they meant for him to be, but I was hoping that this Sack character was going to be more imposed. Like, I can't think of anything else now that I said it. I was hoping that he would feel more imposing than he did, and he didn't.
He didn't.
They didn't. None of them. I mean, beyond wearing the masks, none of them felt like they didn't move in a way that made you feel like they were threatening.
Yeah, like I could have beaten any one of the three of their asses. Yeah. That's how I felt. I'm like, I would step up to these guys. I don't really care.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think they were trying to go for an intimidation thing, but the only one who doesn't speak of the three characters is Sackhead. I know. Sackhead's the only one who doesn't speak, which I don't know if they're supposed to make him more intimidating, but I didn't really care. I actually didn't notice that until I read it, to be honest.
My second favorite mask would be Dollface, who's the blonde character. I liked both. The female masks were both great.
Yeah.
But I liked hers second. And she's the one who you kind of see her face more than I remembered seeing her face.
I kind of teeter-totter on which one. I mean, I don't know. Those two girl masks, they kind of interchange in which one I like the most. I kind of almost want to put them tied.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the Dollface one more.
Yeah.
I just think it's creepier. And I think the way she moved a lot creepier than... Like, when Liv Tyler's, like, outside crawling around. Yeah. She moved a lot.
Yeah, the actual character herself. Yeah.
I thought she was more creepy than the Dollface. Or the Babyface.
Babyface, yeah.
Yeah. I just thought she moved better. I don't know.
Yeah, they're both just creepy. I truly liked their masks. And again, too, like his wasn't even a mask. Like no, his was just a sheet or whatever.
Yeah,
like a pillowcase
it was just a pillowcase, like a potato sack that he cut.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be a potato
It's almost
sack.
like the other two were like, all right, let's go do some murders. And he's like, let me find my mask.
Yeah, let me get my mask.
Yeah. Like I feel like they put some thought and some effort. They purposely made it seem a little creepy.
But the one thing I did like the way that they ended it with like this. They tied them up in the chairs and they kind of slowly stabbed them. I thought that was effective.
I also like too that they show their faces to the characters, but we don't see their faces,
which I don't care.
See, I actually like that because it again adds more like these are strangers. You don't need to see the faces because you don't even know who these people are. So actually, I thought that was kind of cool.
But I also think even if you see their face, it doesn't matter because they're still strangers anyway.
That's why I actually like not seeing the faces because then it can be creepier that way.
Yeah, but I liked the end. And of course, they had to do, like, every movie after Carrie. God. When the boy comes into the house, she does the, like, she gets up and screams. Like, ever since Carrie did the hand through the grass, every movie feels like it has to end with a jump scare.
And that actually could just not exist. They could have actually ended it with because you were home or whatever. Or just something like that.
I think they could have, like, I don't hate that the kids went to the house because I think there was, on the topic of, like, because you were home, there was a moment where the kids show up and they're handing out flyers and the kids walk away and you can hear, I don't know which, I think it was Dollface, though it doesn't matter. You can hear one of them say, it'll be easier next time, which I thought was, I don't know that there would have been a moment for them to say that if they just ended it in the house.
True.
But I thought that was, even if we never knew we'd get another one, I think that was a cool moment because either they have done it before and this one just kind of didn't go as they planned. Yeah. Or this is the first time they've done it, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to be professionals the next time."
Yep.
I thought, and it was I think if you weren't paying attention, you might have missed it, because she just says it really quick in the truck. Yeah. But I thought that
I
was
never
a cool
really
moment.
noticed it until you pointed it out.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool moment.
And so we got, so here's the thing, we don't really know, so we got body count, right? It's either 2 or 3. I don't know if Liv Tyler eventually dies.
Yeah, does she? I don't know.
I want to say she's dead, but...
I guess she could be alive.
She could be alive. We're going to go body count 2 on this one.
But you want her to be dead, so you should just say 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think I actually wrote, like, that she should be dead somewhere in here. Like, they should have killed Liv Tyler. I actually wrote that.
I don't think it matters either way, because there was no connection to the character, so they could have just easily
That's
dispatched.
why just get rid of him.
Just get rid of her.
Just get rid of him. Yeah, and a couple little facts about this. I said the face is one. This was shot with handheld or steady cameras. So they said there was nothing, they said there's actually camera movement in every single scene, which I thought was kind of cool. And it's shot chronologically, which is, I don't know why most movies aren't, because I feel like it's just easier. I guess with big budget movies, sure.
Yeah.
Most movies, it seems like these low budgets are shot chronologically.
I think, I've heard actors say that they like it more because they can actually like move through the movie with their character.
That does make sense.
And continuity is generally better, especially in a horror movie, because if they start throwing blood around, and then they're going back to an earlier outfit, and then they're going back to when they were all covered in blood. It's like,
so you got dried blood, then you got wet blood, then you got blood here.
Well, we didn't talk about this, but now that we're talking about dried and wet blood, the ice cream that was soup the moment it came out of the freezer.
Yeah, I know.
It was soup the moment he took it out.
Like, did he refrigerate it beforehand?
He was ready. He was ready to come home and be disappointed.
Yeah, he knew that he was going to be. He's going to be disappointed. And the last tidbit is Kurt Russell said this movie scared him.
Huh.
I'm going to say, Kurt Russell, you're a bitch. This movie's not scary. And like, I watched this when I was 17, 18 years old. This movie's not scary.
My sister, I have the masks, all 3 of them. And I think the masks are super scary. Like, I'm not afraid of them, but my sisters are not big horror people, and they are petrified of the masks. And I will tell this prank because I think it's really funny. Yeah. I don't remember which one I put. Maybe it was the doll face one, I don't know. I put one of them on, and there's a moment in the movie where the record player starts to skip on a song. I have no idea what they're saying, but I remember that scared my sister, like, so much. So I decided one night to put the mask on, play that sound, because it was on YouTube. Everybody was searching for it, and she was very not happy with me when I did that.
Yeah, it's funny, speaking of, like, mask pranks, this isn't a mask from The Strangers, but my sister-in-law, I remember when I was living home, like, me and my brothers were all home, and my sister-in-law was just dating my brother at the time. My other brother was asleep in bed, and my sister-in-law had like this, like, those clear masks that have like that makeup on it? Yeah. She put the mask on, and she scared the crap out of me. Almost cursed, sorry. She scared the crap out of me with that, but went up to my brother's room while he was still sleeping and woke him up to scare him. My brother turned and kicked her.
Amazing. That's amazing.
I felt so bad for her, that story.
Well, now that you mentioned Kurt Russell, I guess we could say, if you haven't seen the second movie, you will see Bill Pullman's son.
Which was Bill Pullman? I'm not drawing a blank.
Come on.
I feel like I know that name, too.
You do. I'm not going to tell you, because I feel embarrassed for both of you.
Don't do this to me.
Bill Pullman. Who is Bill Pullman?
I'm not telling you.
You have to tell me. We're live. People are going to hear this.
Ashley's going to tell you. I'm embarrassed for the 2 of them.
All right. Ash, look it up. In the meantime, while you're looking it up, why do I not know Bill Pullman?
I'm sad for you.
We know. We just...
Well, in the meantime, I'm going to rate this movie.
Okay. Give it to me.
Here's my rate. I'll tell you my rate last night, and I'll tell you my rate now. So, like I said, how I do scores. I try to score it like... Who's Bill Pullman?
He was the president in Independence Day.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. How do you not know Independence Day?
I know Independence Day. I don't know actors' names.
I'm sorry. I forgot that you don't know actors'
names. I don't know actors. I know nobody's names. So last night when I watched... Okay, sorry. The way I scored like you score test grades. Like 60 is just passing. Obviously anything below that's failing. 75, so forth. I gave this a 4 out of 10 last night. I said this is a failing grade. It's not just a 5 out of 10. This is a failing grade. I woke up this morning in like this fit of anger. Oh my God. I hated everything this morning. This morning sucked because of this movie. It's a 3 out of 10.
You're so dramatic.
It's a 3 out of 10.
You're so dramatic.
It would have been a 4 out of 10 if I didn't waste another hour and a half of my life dedicated to this movie. It's like, you ever do something and you say, I'm not getting that moment back? And that's exactly how I felt. Like, I could have been watching any movie last night. I chose this.
Well, I chose it, technically.
Actually, technically, it was randomly pulled out.
It was.
But yeah, we pulled a movie out of a hat because we couldn't decide what movie we were going to watch last night. We all put some in.
I don't know why I wrote this either. I think I saw it like on the homepage of Netflix, and I was like,
I did too. And you know what's funny? I actually almost said to you, we should do The Strangers. And then when you pulled it out, I was like, that's why I didn't even like hesitate. I said, all right, let's put it on.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of excited to rewatch this, thinking this was going to be good. This movie is absolute trash. I mean, like, pick your most boring movie you've ever watched.
I cannot wait for you guys to see the things that he loves, and compared to this, you're surprising me.
I mean, like, there's just nothing to this movie. This movie is white bread. That's it. It's plain Jane, boring, nothing.
My rating system is not the same as yours because I don't grade it based off of like a test score. I just like 1 to 10. I'm gonna just do 1 to 10. I'm not that much higher than you are. I would say like 5.5.
For you, that's a high score.
For me, that's a little bit. Yeah, for me, that's high.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For you, that's like a C+.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I like the masks. I like the atmosphere of it. I liked that it was a horror movie that just wasn't. I mean, I love gore. Do not get me wrong, but I liked that it was trying something new. It was trying to be more atmospheric, and I enjoyed that. And I know you haven't seen the sequel, but I really liked the sequel. I'm
afraid to see the sequel now.
They're very different, like I said before, but I really like the second one. I'm glad that they did make another one. They had talked about it for a long time, and it kind of was going to happen, then wasn't going to, and I'm glad that they did. The second one has a lot of cool, like, 80s music in it, which I thought was fun.
See, that's kind of cool.
It's a lot gorier, so if you are not a gore person and you're expecting this movie, you're going to be very disappointed, because if they can get their hands on them, they're going to cut them up, kill them, but I'm going to give it a 5. As I said, I really like the masks.
You said 5.5.
5.5, sorry. I like the masks. I generally hate Liv Tyler. I hate her voice. I hate almost everything about her, but I thought she was pretty good in this movie. They didn't have a lot to do, but I liked her in this.
Yeah, if you don't like yourself, you should watch this movie. This movie's just so, oh my god. If you want to ruin your day, put this on.
Jeez, Keith,
don't enjoy it.
How you really feel.
Yeah, right?
You know what it is too? Like, honestly, God, I really didn't feel this way last night until it just totally occurred to me just how boring this movie is. I got more bored after I watched the movie. How is that possible? And like, it infuriated me.
Well, let's give the people something that doesn't infuriate you. What's your recommendation for the week?
All right, I got 2.
You give us the trailer and then give us the movie, I guess.
Well, it's actually not even a movie.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of interesting. Okay,
right.
This is going to sound very, very.
He told me he was going to surprise me, so I'm ready to be. If it's not a great surprise, I'm going to act as dramatic as you are.
It's going to be a strange surprise. I'll give you that.
Okay.
So my pick for the trailer is, if you haven't watched the Spider-Man trailer, I actually almost suggest you don't watch the Spider-Man trailer and just go see the movie.
Yeah, it gives away a lot.
Yeah, there's so much in this trailer. Yeah. It actually looks so damn cool, and there's things in this that I wish I didn't see them. I wanted to watch the movie and be like a 6-year-old kid watching his favorite superheroes, like and all these characters come to life. Like that to me, this trailer to me is awesome. So it's so good, don't watch it. Yeah. Or it's so good you should watch it. I don't know which one you should do.
I'm excited for it because I like comic books, but I don't read a lot of the superhero ones. And in terms of like the superhero movies, Spider-Man was like never at the top of my list. But Tom Holland just so perfectly embodies what like you would think a teenager should be.
100%.
And I feel like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield like didn't do that. Like they weren't bad Spider-Mans. Don't get me wrong.
I'm gonna totally disagree.
Like
I know you could go on. I think both of them are good actors, and I like that. Tobey Maguire is better.
Maguire's the best one.
He's better.
No.
Tom Holland is so much better.
No.
I like
Tobey Maguire doesn't feel like a teenager.
Well, but I don't dislike Tom Holland. I think Andrew Garfield was good, but he's the least good of all of them. Tom Holland is great for the character, I guess, in the MCU universe, like the new one. But Tobey Maguire's, first of all, I don't care if people disagree with this. Tobey Maguire's movies are better. You can argue against Spider-Man 3, fine, but you can never argue against Spider-Man 2. So Tobey Maguire, I think, is better. Aunt May, I'm going to say this in the original one, is better because I don't want an Aunt May.
You don't like Marissa Tomei? Come on.
No, I love Marissa Tomei. Right. That's the problem. Yeah. I don't want to look at Aunt May and want to sleep with her.
All right, here's the thing.
All right, give it to me, Ash.
Tobey Maguire, good Peter Parker, bad Spider-Man. Andrew
Yeah.
Garfield, bad Peter Parker, good Spider-Man.
Tom
Holland, perfect package.
Yeah, I think...
And I say this because Tobey Maguire was good at embodying the, like, nerdy, like, not in the suit Peter Parker. I don't think he was witty and quippy and funny enough in the suit. And then
firmly disagree.
Andrew Garfield was too cool.
I think I'm going to tell you right now. You have to rewatch the movies. I'm going to say if you think,
cutting me off,
yes, I am, because you're behind the camera, young lady.
And do not fight with me about Spider-Man.
I'm just going to tell you this right now. Tobey Maguire absolutely was witty when he was wearing the costume. I don't know.
Not nearly as witty as Andrew Garfield.
No kidding. But I'm going to tell you right now. I think he was a good package. Andrew Garfield was great with his little quips and everything. Too cool, too good looking.
It was way too cool to be Peter Parker.
I just think the reason I think that it's like this for me, but I think Tom Holland gets the edge always over Tobey Maguire for me because he's supposed to be a teenager. But we know that.
But
Tobey Maguire was like how old? 30.
Well, we just think that way.
No. But you can't dispute that Tom Holland feels like a teenager.
Well, he feels like a teenager, but
he's supposed to.
You know what? And I'm just gonna say.
And I like the web better in the new ones. I like that it's actually the way that it's supposed to be, not just coming out of.
But what I'm trying to say,
what
I'm trying to say, I'm just gonna say this controversial. Tom Holland is a little bitch. All right, I said
it. Okay, that's the second time I'm gonna have to believe you.
No, but what I'm gonna say is like he's like this little bratty teen. And don't get me wrong. He's supposed to be a teen, but he's this little bratty teen. He's supposed to be somewhere between nerdy and like I don't even know. Like, okay. But hold on, Ash.
Before we end up reviewing Spider-Man,
that's what I was
give us your we will branch out into other.
If you want a bonus video where me and my husband yell at each other the whole time about Spider-Man,
no.
Do you have a movie rec for this week?
Not a movie rec. This is actually kind of stupid. So
okay.
On Disney
Plus. Is this a surprise?
This is a surprise.
Okay.
It's a surprise because you're going to be like, what the hell are you picking this for, Keith? So on Disney Plus, Olaf, the character from Frozen, he does these little shorts, they're like 2 minutes long, of a retelling of Disney movies like Aladdin, Little Mermaid.
You will never catch me watching
that. Oh my God, they're so funny.
And I'll tell you, so like he does one of Little Mermaid where he plays every single character except for Prince Eric, who's played by the reindeer. Sven. And like his retelling of it is just so funny. They're like there's like 5 or 6 of them, and they're only 2 minutes long. They're so stupid.
Oh my God,
they're so funny. And I know it has nothing to do with horror, neither does Spider-Man, but I just find them to be so hilarious.
I'll continue the trend because I was trying to think about what I was going to recommend this week, and I was like, I'm going to go not horror this week.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix for those who have not seen it. I really recommend Marriage Story.
I don't even know that.
It's if you're Adam Driver fans out there, you'll like it. It's Adam Driver.
Who, by the way, is really funny.
He is.
And Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. Yep. So if you guys are, into Scarlett Johansson, I think she's a great actress. I think she's a super underrated actress, criminally underrated in my opinion. I think people just see that she's pretty and they forget like actually how many really good movies she's in. And she's excellent in Marriage Story. It's as you could imagine, they're a married couple going through a divorce, and I mean I've not been married, but the director and the guy who wrote it based off of his own life experience, and it really feels real. They're both excellent in it. There's funny moments, there's sad moments.
When did this come out?
Not that long ago, a couple years ago.
A couple years ago, right?
Yeah, 2 or 3, I think. I love Adam Driver, but Scarlett Johansson just blows him out of the water in almost every scene that they're in, and I think Adam Driver fans are going to be on my neck about it, but I really think that she's excellent in this movie. It's sad, but it has an uplifting end. It's on Netflix, and so is The Strangers. I know Keith is telling you not to watch it, but if you feel inclined, it's also on Netflix. And then, would you say Olaf is on Disney Plus?
Disney Plus, yes.
Yeah, so we'll try to give you stuff that you don't have to pay for every week.
Yeah.
And next week, you guys will be excited to hear. I'm sure we've talked about the trailer before, but next week's a big week. I'll let Keith do it because we bought the tickets last night. And he was, like, giddy, like a 15-year-old. Like, yeah. I've never seen, like, the biggest smile lit up on his face the moment I clicked, like, purchase on these tickets. Give it to them.
Wednesday, we are going to see Resident Evil. Oh, my God. I don't even want to say too much on it, but we're going to go see Resident Evil, and then we're going to review it. So that's going to be a huge spoiler for people who haven't seen it. And, I mean, we're going to... Here's the problem, though, is I'm going to be wanting to watch the movie. I'm not taking notes. I might have to go and watch it again before.
Yeah.
Because I just want to... So me and a few of my friends who are also obsessed with Resident Evil, we have this really, really weird love for this video game. And we're going to go there, and I think... We're actually almost set up to be disappointed because we want to get the video game.
I hope you're not, but I think you're so excited for it that there's I think a high chance you'll be disappointed.
It's a high chance I might be disappointed, or I might overlook everything because I want to love the movie.
You might, I might not like it, but he might love it just because it's Resident Evil. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm
very excited for it.
I'm not a big, I like video games, but I was more like Call of Duty and the sports ones, so I didn't play Resident Evil like too much when I was playing video games, so I don't have the attachment to it. Like
I still remember the first time around when Resident Evil 2 came out. Me and my brother rented it for PlayStation 1, and we played it. And I just remember, I really want all of you to go and look at the graphics of Resident Evil 2 for PlayStation, because when me and my brother played it, we thought it looked real and that it was terrifying. And we were playing it together. It's polygons. It's so stupid.
I mean, maybe what we could do, because we are going to see it the night it comes out, maybe what we could do is like split the episodes. We could talk about the first Mila Jovovich Resident Evil.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And then give you guys a chance to see it, and you could watch the second half, or we'll see how it goes. But we're both very much looking forward to that.
Yep. And also, too, if you haven't watched on Wednesday, I released the first part of a scary story that I'm doing a 3-parter of, and this coming Wednesday, I'll have the second part of that, so you can tune in for that.
Yeah, and as we've said, I think we said on the other video, I'm not sure if you said it in the Spooky Story one, but we'll do a couple together, we'll do some alone, but if you guys have anything that you can submit anonymously to the, Ashley will put the information in the description below, but if you want to submit anonymously, you can do that. If you don't want us to read your name, just obviously tell us that, because if we don't know that, we're going to read your name. But if you guys want to submit stories, or as we've said before, if there's anything, coming into the winter, we're going to start doing some more holiday-themed movies, or not all Christmas, but more winter-related. Yeah. So if there's anything out there that you guys are burning for us to review, we can certainly do that. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and share this video, tell all your friends, and we hope you guys, you won't see our next video, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Take us away.
And I usually take you away with something cool, sound effect or something, but I'm gonna take you away with me crying myself to sleep tonight. Good night.